Michigan State 3-0. They just beat Youngstown by double digits. Aidan Chiles still looks spectacular, and yet didn't really feel like 100% of a victory here. Let's talk about this.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how on earth are we all doing? And that's a rhetorical and non-rhetorical question because we're going to get into it all. After that nice little win against Youngstown State, some people are feeling really good about being 3-0. Some people are panicking about what we've seen from the defense the first 3 weeks. Or if you're like me, you're some weird combination of both, and your brain is just kind of battling itself as to how you should feel about all this going on right now for Michigan State football. But guys, before we go any further, hey, thanks a lot for making Locked On Spartans part of your game week routine. If you're listening over the weekend, thanks a lot for spending some of your weekend with us here at Locked On Spartans. Let's get into the mix because that's right, Penguins. That'll show you. Michigan State wins 41-24. 24 is a lot of points to give up to an FCS team. We're going to talk about that, guys. Again, we're not going to frolic through the daisies and act like everything is just 100% okay here in East Lansing. But what we're also not going to do is start with the bad stuff because let's not lose sight of all this. Michigan State 3-0. And you tell us 4 weeks ago, you tell us a few months ago, whenever it is in the offseason, that Michigan State, they are skating out of this 3-game home stretch to start the season 3-0. Yeah, my God, I would have taken that in any worst way. Yeah, sure, double overtime against Boston College. I don't care how you have to do it. Yeah, as long as you beat the Eagles, that's fine. Sure. Yeah, give up 3 touchdowns to Youngstown State. I give up seemingly what felt like 1,000 yards of offense to the Penguins. I don't care. 3-0 is 3-0, and look, you are halfway to bowl eligibility, something that we have not said since 2021, guys. Now let's talk about, who shined in this game. And if you think that, just because he did it against an FCS team means that we will stop gushing, ranting, raving about our guy, Aidan Chiles, you're out of your mind. No, of course, we're going to keep talking highly about this kid because, hey, he's shown every which way possible that he has grown from who he was 3 games into the year last year as a first-time starter and to who he is right now as a second-year starter for your football team. He is showing why he is a dynamic passer. He's great with his legs. And, guys, another great game from him today. This isn't the reason why we are just so over the moon about Aidan Chiles. He showed it all last weekend, but he followed that up with starting the game 8 of 9 passing. The one miss, obviously, that could have been better. Could have gone with Christian McCray on a 15-yard route to pick up that first down on 4th down, but obviously wasn't on the same page with Jack Valiant. We are splitting hairs right here. I'd like to focus on the other 8 passes where he looked really good. Game as a whole, 22 of 29 passing, 346 yards of all-purpose offense. 270 of that came from the air, and then the rest came from on the ground because, he's really dynamic with his legs. The only thing I really did not love with Aidan Chiles, and if you follow me on Twitter, you saw this tweet. It's like, I love the player. He's dynamic. He's as talented of a quarterback as we've had here in East Lansing. I think very highly of him. I think, by all accounts, really good kid, really solid leader, too, from everything you hear inside the locker room. What the hell are you doing trying to hurl a defender from Youngstown State deep into this game? You get to do that when you're down a possession or trying to ice the game against Michigan, like a marquee game. We have seen players enter and exit the injury tent like it is crunchies at 1 a.m. on a school. Oh my God. Aiden, I love you. We cannot have you hurdling. Anyway, let's talk about other things that went well for us, guys, right? Because things did go well in this victory. We are 3-0. And we talked about the pass protection has to look a lot better than what it did against Boston College. And that's not to say that it was a complete disaster. It was a calamity. No, if we're picking and choosing what we wanted to see, improved with this offense, it was a pass protection, namely the left tackle position, Stanton Ramil. Now, Stanton Ramil didn't play a full game. He had some injury issues himself, as well as every offensive lineman. But look, you got to give credit to pass protection because, hey, let's rewind the clock last week. We had this stat from Pro Football Focus that Aidan Chiles, amongst any FBS quarterback in the nation last week, he had the third most time to throw in the pocket. We don't have the numbers just yet from Pro Football Focus, but I would be stunned if that's not going to get upgraded to most time in the pocket because he was chilling back there. He could have had a cookout by himself. Now, I will say this. Part of this is because, yeah, Michigan State, great pass protection. The other part, too, Youngstown State, they only brought 3 men a lot on third down specifically, and they just dropped 8 back into the zone coverage, and they just let Aidan Chiles say, okay, hey, go ahead, pick a window, any window, it's going to be tight. And he had enough time back there to eventually find someone that was open in the zone here. So, hey, credit to the pass protection. Again, this is like what we talked about in the pregame show. We're not going to, throw a parade for you down Grand River if you look good. It is a Youngstown State team and it is an FCS level team. But, hey, you know what? We gave you the challenge. We wanted you to pass it. You did. So let's see how you look the rest of the season. Nick Marsh continues to be an absolute animal. This is a game. And this wasn't some hot take. This wasn't some brainiac discovery by our department over here at Lockdown Spartans. I am the department, talking in third person now. But yeah, we kind of figured that Nick Marsh could have a field day out there if you just gave Aidan Chiles enough time. The cornerbacks severely physically mismatched in this game. You saw why Nick Marsh is the FBS player, and not just that, but potentially a day one draft pick in the NFL. I think that highly of him so far in this season. Omari Kelly, great punt return. Could have, should have been a touchdown. Omarion Smith, absolutely loved that moment there, getting his interception. And hey, you know what? A lot has been tasked with this kid on the field and off the field. You should all know his story by now. Tragedy off the field. His mother passes away, and now he is the sole guardian to all of his younger siblings, on top of being a football player, on top of being a student too, which he does talk about. And man, pales in comparison. It actually sounds ridiculous that I'm about to just start talking football here, but like, he's also been tasked with a lot so far this season. With Nikai Martinez being out the first 2 games, guys, he had to play, and he was the only defender last week that did this, play 70-plus snaps against Boston College. I know it wasn't a perfect game from him against the Eagles, but he also had some good moments. That pass breakup in double overtime. And also, how great was that to have the interception when it wasn't like starting to get like, okay, tug on your collar close against Youngstown State. I don't think this game was ever really in danger per se. But just when the Penguins wanted to make this a conversation, there's our guy, Omarion Smith. Great interception, so thank you. Now, what else did we like about this day? And not even actually Saturday, but also Friday. But other teams are starting to look really human too. Okay? Now, this also goes hand in hand with the conversation we're going to have in the next segment is, yeah, Michigan State looks pretty human too on the defensive side of the ball. But right now, let's just pause. Like, okay, last year during the season, okay, hey, Indiana, that could be a gettable game. And then you get a few weeks in, it's like, oh my God, they are a behemoth. They are a juggernaut. They will buzzsaw right through any team possible. So, well, you got the opposite going on. Where we're looking at teams, and we're saying, hey, they actually look a lot more vulnerable than I thought they would be when the season started. And this is important when you're trying to claw yourselves to 6, 7 wins, whatever goal you have for this season. Guys, how amazing is it that you get UCLA as your homecoming game? I mean, this is like back to high school homecoming right here, where your athletic director tries to find a team that doesn't even have matching helmets. Half the players are missing their knee pads. They have to switch shoulder pads with the offense and the defense between series because that's how downtrodden of a program they are. That's what UCLA is looking like. 0-3, losing 35-10 against New Mexico, a team they were favored by 15.5 points against on Friday. That's nice. Hey, Iowa looking mighty vulnerable. Okay, there's some depth issues going on. The quarterback transferred. They've done it again. They've made another great FCS quarterback look human over there in Iowa City. And look, you could go around the schedule and tuck yourself into a few more wins than maybe you did before the season started. And that's the good. We got to talk about what we didn't love from this game because this might be the story of the game. This might be bad podcast hosting. Maybe you want to lead off with what everyone's really talking about, but I thought it was only fair to talk about good things that happen after a win and starting 3-0. But guys, before we have just straight talk, that's what I'm going to call it here. I need to talk your ears off about the game cap. That's right. I'm rocking one right now. Guys, quick question for all you college football fans out there. If you could go back in time and sit front row at your school's biggest rivalry win or the classic win that you will never forget, what hat would you be wearing? That's right. Yeah, no, not jersey, not who are you with. I said, what hat would you be wearing? Guys, for me, it is the game. These aren't just hats. They bring back the memories, too. They're the same vintage styles that fans wore back in the 80s, the 90s, and guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then, too. When you use code LOCKEDON, that's all one word, LOCKEDON, you will get your vintage hat for $16.99. $16.99. Nothing costs $16.99 anymore, especially hats, guys. Head to thegamecaps.com. That is thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's exclusive bar or retro circle hat and use code LOCKEDON for an exclusive discount because legends wear the game. Also, guys, 5-Hour Energy. God, I've been pumping that through my veins this weekend. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with zero sugar and zero crashes. What I love the most is how portable they are. Tiny taste, tiny shot. You could take it anywhere. We're talking the golf course. We're talking the tailgates, the office, or if you're like me today, the playground with your two beautiful sons that absolutely just drain all the energy out of you. God, I love you, boys. But, oh, my God, I can't wait for Mom to come back home. Anyway, guys, enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. All right, if you just like when everything is all good in the hood, you don't want to sweat everything, you don't want to look at those rain clouds out in the distance, you just want to enjoy the sunshine and rainbows right now. Again, I'm going to do some bad podcasting. I would encourage you to turn this episode off because we're going to talk about what we didn't really love from that game. And the first is, hey, sometimes in life things are just out of your control. But when you are looking at an FBS versus FCS game, a scheduled victory, if you will, the first headline is, well, just, hey, don't get hurt. Don't leave the game with any crippling injuries that would really just absolutely screw you the following week or weeks or months or the whole season, whatever it is. And here we are. Guys, I know I'm going to be missing some injuries here. I was trying to tabulate as best I could during the game, but Luka Vincic, Stant Ramil, Connor Moore, they all walked off with some sort of injury. It certainly looked like Luka's, not to speculate, but I'm going to speculate, certainly looked like his was more extreme than the other two. Brady Pretzloff, a linebacker, he gets taken off the field late in the game. And then, of course, the headliners, Nick Marsh, he misses the whole second half. Makai Frazier, your starting running back, couldn't even put weight on his leg leaving the field. Now, for Nick Marsh, Jonathan Smith did say after the game that it was inconclusive what it is. They're going to keep looking at it this week. So as hopeful as I am that they just realized, hey, we don't need him to win this game. Let's just really just be very cautious. I am a little concerned, I got to say. Now, Makai Frazier, I'm not a doctor. My God, I'm the furthest thing from a doctor. I should have no medical opinions, but let me just give you one right now. Anytime a guy can't put weight on his leg leaving the field, going to go ahead and just assume that that's not great. But look, Jonathan Smith, as he does, especially during the halftime show, he was getting interviewed by whoever the reporter was. I'm sorry, I don't have their name at the top of my mind. But he said that Nick Marsh is, quote, going through some things. And I do love that about Jonathan Smith. That's how he addresses injuries. He always says that guys are just going through some things. Aren't we all, Jonathan? But look, Nick Marsh, inconclusive. Makai Frazier, we have no idea what's going to happen there. We will certainly talk about that this week on Locked On Spartans whenever we get the update, most likely on Monday during that media availability. Let's get to the main event here. 14 minutes into the show, the defense. And look, if you're looking at me to scream, if you're looking at me to have some panic in my voice, it's not going to happen because I'm not panicked about the defense. I'm actually in a state of mind much worse. I'm accepting of it. Like I've accepted this season on defense. That like this is a pedestrian defense, and that pains me to say because there are some players that I like. You know, I still like the linebacker core, of course, but 2 sacks in this one today. 2 sacks. That is 6 sacks total in your first 3 games of the season. That is against 4 coming against Western Michigan, who was breaking in 4 new offensive linemen. You had 0 against Boston College. And if you want to go to La-di-da land and you just want to say that, oh, hey, Dylan Lonergan, he gets the ball out fast every single time, we never had a chance, fine. Live in that fantasy world. I don't care. Because what I saw today, too, is that with the 4-man rush against an FCS team, yes, 2 sacks, half sack from Anilu Lafayette, and then Jordan Hull, he got a sack, too. It's not good. Like, it's not good enough. And, like, this might sound hyperbolic. This might sound that, like, hey, I'm just reeling. I'm, quote-unquote, crashing out, as the kids say. But here's a take that fans aren't going to like, but I actually genuinely think. This pass rush might be worse than last year. And I understand the gravity of that statement because we went 6 straight games without a sack. Now, will they go 6 straight games without a sack this year? No, that's not what I'm saying, but there's a lot more to a pass rush than just sacks. It's introducing yourself to the quarterback. It's making the quarterback actually feel pressure. Imagine that. Getting him off script, getting his legs going. Did it happen sometimes tonight, this afternoon, whatever you want to call today? Sure. Should have happened a lot more. You should not have to call on a blitz to get to the quarterback, but alas, here we are. This is what Bo Brungard did to you guys here. He had his 3rd most passing yards in his career, and he plays an FCS schedule around the clock. Okay, he threw for, what was it? Oh, God, I should have the stat at the top of my notes right now, but I didn't even write it down. It was 240-something passing yards, the 3rd most that he's had in his career at Youngstown State. And this is a week after Michigan State just gave up 390 passing yards through the air. And look, it's not all the pass rush, right? Like, let's start talking about other positions, like our secondary, of course, the corners. I think the corners are fine. Hard stop at that, though. Like, they are just fine. And you can't have fine corners fighting for their lives out there for 4-5 seconds, but I digress. It's not good. You don't need me to say this. You watched it today. You watched it last week. You watched it all of last season. We're in dire straits right now. And what really bothered me the most about today is that, like, Youngstown, they didn't even get their yards. They didn't even get their points by how they usually do it in their FCS schedule. Like, usually Bo Brungard is using his legs. He had 264 rushing yards last week alone. I mean, this guy has, I think it's 7 or 8 games in his career with at least 150 rushing yards. He was held to 17 yards on 14 carries. Like, he's not this dynamite passer. He's serviceable at the FCS level, but he had kind of his way with you in a way. And that's not good, guys. I know I hope you're all sitting down when I say that, but it's not fantastic shakes because it doesn't get better from here. USC, if the team total on FanDuel is any number less than 49.5 points for USC next week, I'm taking the over for their team total points. Maybe you just think, oh, here goes Panicky Matt again. Oh, here he goes, just the emotionally unstable State fan that just can't take any adversity. Here he goes. No, in my heart of hearts, I truly cannot see them getting more than 1 or 2 stops next week. That's how low I feel about the defense. And is some of it on Joe Rossi? Sure, it has to be. He's the architect behind this whole thing. But also, he's saddled with a front 4 that really just can't apply any pressure. But then again, it swings back to him and the staff. You guys are the ones that built this unit. You could have gone to the transfer portal and gotten better players than a guy that was a redshirt freshman at a Mountain West school, or a guy that didn't record any snaps last year, or a guy at Texas Tech that saw his starting job get taken away, or a guy at Georgia State that wasn't even a starter at Georgia State last year. We're dealing with a bare cupboard, but you're the guys that go shopping for the essentials in said cupboard. So I don't know who or what to be mad at. I just know the situation's not great. Anyway, it wasn't just the defense. The run game, kind of like a Benjamin Button thing going on. They looked fantastic against Western. They looked fine enough against Boston College. Would have liked it to be a little better. But this game, just 1.8 yards per carry for Makai Frazier before he had to exit the game. They played from behind schedule a lot in this one. They tried to establish the run in the first half because it couldn't all just be Nick Marsh going Superman mode. Except you couldn't establish a run. So that is what it had to be in the first half. So I am interested in the run game. If anything, and this is I'm trying way too hard with this take, but I actually do believe it. So get ready for this one. Really feeling myself tonight. our run game issues really made me think of like how like, does this say more about Western Michigan than anything else right now? Because if we move the ball so just dominantly against Western Michigan, and the FCS team has given us this hard of a time, like, I don't know, like that seems to speak a lot about Western as much as it does Michigan State's run game too. Anyway, this is Locked on Spartans, not Locked on Broncos. I do have one more thing to rail on here. And I'm sorry, like, I enjoy the coaching staff. I do. I think that they're doing just a fine job, but I've got some things to say about them really quick. But first, need to talk your ears off about Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds, guys. Hey, close your eyes, join hands if you're listening on Saturday or early Sunday. Let's go for it, guys. More than Jamison Williams, 1 touchdown or 0.5 touchdowns. Let's just go for it. Start your picks with Prize Picks with the Jamison Williams action, guys. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege and for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Also, guys, FanDuel Sportsbook, that's right, America's #1 sportsbook. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. We're talking futures, we're talking props, we're talking same-game parlays, or guys, you know me, I love my first touchdown scores, of course. We're going Jamison Williams, but there's also one other bet that I do like for this Bears-Lions game coming up. Go to the first quarter. I like more than 8.5 points in the first quarter here. I think Ben Johnson is going to make a script so simple, not even Caleb Williams can screw it up. And then the Lions, after that putrid performance last week, you better be putting points up on the board in front of your home crowd. How's that for a nice analytical take? You just have to score immediately. Anyway, are you ready to play? Come join me with 8.5 over in the first quarter for Lions Bears, guys. Download the fantasy app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, this coaching staff, which, hey, overall, if you ask me right now, do you like them? Do you not like them? I still like them. I like the way the things are going for the most part. Starting to have concerns bubble up, and here's one of the concerns. What's going on during the 2-minute drills? Other than just a monkey clapping cymbals, because that's what it seems to be going through the headset of whoever's calling these plays on offense. That's got to be touching so many fingers that we're just going to lash out at everyone here, because I'm not even talking about the very, very, very end of the half today where they probably should have taken that last timeout instead of running everyone up to the line, having them spike the ball, and you had some guys moving, got to back it up 5 yards, then take your timeout, then kick a field goal. It's not even like that very basic thing that I'm frustrated about the most. I'm not going to scream. My kids are sleeping upstairs. I'm not going to wake them up. I'm not going to have them worry about dad for one more minute than they already were today. It's a real good question of like who was really watching who today from 3:30 to 7. I mean, I was an active participant in parenting, but it wasn't either of those boys having those meltdowns today. Anyway, what drove me up family show, a godforsaken wall. What was that quarterback drawn up? 5-yard gain, chewing 12 to 15 seconds off the clock at midfield. Well, like that's 12 to 15 seconds. That's one, if not two more plays that you were giving yourself in a 2-minute drill. Really seems like you could have used those 12, 15 seconds at the very end of whatever fire drill that was going on at the end of half. So look, I wouldn't be so fired up about it if there wasn't an oddity last week too, with the last, few seconds of a half where Michigan State had the ball, 70 yards away from the goal line. They have a nice little out route. They pick up 7 yards. Okay, great. Let's get into field goal range. Our guy can kick a 50-yarder. And then they just run the clock out the rest of half. Like, that really seemed like a half-pregnant move. I'm going to need to see some more concise 2-minute offense here. I don't think that's asking a lot. I think my concerns are incredibly valid there. Like, let's have the adults start calling plays like adults here. Are you going for points? Are you not going for points? Really, no, true. Like, someone answer that question out loud here, because that was puzzling for the second straight week. Just a real odd end to the half here. So, guys, we're just going to go through some takes here, what you guys saw, what you did like, what you didn't like, because I had a nice little post-game video on Twitter, and I just straight up said, give me your thoughts below. Matt C. writes in, offense better put up 60 points next week. I don't even know if that would be enough to win the game next week if you scored 60 points. Look, we joked about it. Actually, I shouldn't even say joke about it. I didn't really joke about it in the moment this offseason when I said Michigan State's offense can be primed to score at least 29 points per game, which would be a 10-point, increase from last season. That's why I said it in such a way. And I also said that they're going to have to score 29 points per game if they do want to win enough games to get to a bowl game. But, man, it's not great. Oh, man. Dr. Genie wrote in, thank you for giving voice to my thoughts. This is the most frustrating win since FAU last year. At least FAU, look, it's the first game for, 60 players, the whole new staff. That wasn't a fun game by any means last year, but that was alarming. Do you know what this was the most frustrating win for me since? I believe it was the 2019 season. Fact check me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right here. They go out, they beat Tulsa, and I leave the stadium, and I'm not in a happy mood because they scored an offense on the scripted plays, and then I don't think there was an offensive touchdown the rest of the game. It seemed like a rerun from the season before. All we did was just shuffle the deck chairs on the Titanic, and it really, truly seemed like we were set for the same issues that we had the season prior. That's what it's starting to seem like on defense. No pass rush. Historically bad pass rush last year. Could be even worse than last year this season. So, yeah, same problems, different season with the same coaching staff. Not ideal. Nestle's Quick Hotel wrote in, this is the last victory for a while. If they lose to UCLA, I could honestly see 3-9. If they lose to UCLA, I don't even need a microphone to do my show. I will be screaming so loud that everyone in the Midwest region of America will be able to hear that show. Anyway, they write in, that defense just isn't going to stop anyone in the offense. While good isn't world beaters. Going to lose a lot of games in the 40-ish to 20-something range. Mickey writes in, I'm worried about injuries and pass defense and our line. Yeah, check, and check for all three of those. Justin writes in something I just railed on. Time management is not existent, and it's still light years ahead of our secondary. This is not a good team. See, when I'm saying that, hey, I'm not 100% feeling like that was truly a win, it's not just me. A lot of people are kind of voicing these opinions right now. Seth writes in UCLA and Maryland. Those are the only other wins I can see on the schedule. Could maybe hang with Iowa too, but on the road will be tough. Just don't understand how a program can go a full decade without having a competent defense. It's honestly incredible. USC might drop 70 on us. Now, at the time of recording, actually, I'll just Google it really quick. What's the score of that game right now? USC was up 30-10 against Purdue. Now they're up 30-17. 2-minute drill going, or 2-minute warning just happened in the fourth quarter. I was very fascinated to see what would happen in that game because they've beat up on two boys and girls clubs to start the season. Missouri State, who they actually hung up 70 on, and then Georgia Southern, who's not even like a good Georgia Southern team this year. Like it says a lot about how great of an opening schedule USC has, where I'm just really interested to see how they're going to look at Purdue as a big test. I mean, but look, that's as big of a test as we'll see before we face them. Okay, their offense looks like somewhat human, but like our defense looks human in the sense of they look like your high school robotics team out there sometimes. So if the defense actually looked like fine today, there's a world where I talk myself into a win. Like, oh, hey, USC, they only look good because they played really bad teams. But no, our defense looks bad against bad teams. No disrespect against Youngstown. Anyway, guys, I'll read one or two of these more. Tigers fan 63. Yeah, bad D, but less than 3 yards per carry combined for Frazier and Tolis was more worrisome for me. I would agree that's an oddity going on right there. Overall, it looked like a low effort prep, low effort game. And that is maybe what really just not upset me, maybe concerned me the most, or maybe why I just stepped into the acceptance phase. I would have loved to come on here and say, hey, hangover game from last week. Emotionally charged win. You needed that one. The players felt it. And your next opponent is an FCS team. I can understand how there might be some hangover going on. Or, hey, maybe a look-ahead game. It's USC. It's our first way to make a real statement on the road. This will be a big one. We're looking ahead to the Trojans. But in my heart of hearts, guys, I don't think it's either of those. I truly think that this is just how the team looks. Can they get to 6 wins? Yeah, I still think they can. I think the offense with Aidan Chiles, you need Nick Marsh healthy, that's for sure. But with Omari Kelly as well, the tight ends played really good today too. Jack Vellion, what a showing from him today. I really appreciated his efforts on a few of those passes. But I think this team gets to a bowl game, and I don't think it's going to be because of the defense. But yeah, it is what it is. I think we've got a lot of answers in these first 3 weeks. Guys, we're going to be talking a lot more about this team. Duh, no kidding, because this is what we do on Locked On Spartans. We talk Michigan State 5 days a week right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, guys, until next time, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your weekend or have a great start to your week. Whatever it is, hey, guys, truly mean this. Love every single one of you. And shout out to my parents, too, for watching the kids upstairs really quick while I record. You guys are the best. All right, guys, love every single one of you. Go Green.